So after the Democrats got their ass handed to them in this last election, Nancy Pelosi, in her infinite solipsistic wisdom, has given us what she believes is the reason why Donald Trump won. Guns. Actually, she said Trump won because of guns, gays, and God, but I want to focus on the gun part. Here's what she said about how the gun issue won Trump the presidency. One major aspect of this cultural strategy, Pelosi noted, is gun rights. Gun ownership and Second Amendment rights are central to many Americans, especially in rural areas, where gun culture is both a lifestyle and a matter of personal freedom. The Democrat Party's push for gun control and common sense regulations has been met with opposition by the Republican narrative that casts its efforts as infringements on personal liberty. For many voters, the right to bear arms is not only a constitutional issue, but also a symbol of resistance to perceived government overreach. Pelosi recognized that the Democrats' stance on gun control likely alienated some voters who prioritized the issue. She maintained that the party's commitment to reducing gun violence is still strong. So let's deconstruct this, shall we? Nancy says gun ownership and the Second Amendment rights are central to many Americans. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Of course, Second Amendment rights are central to many Americans.
It's the second thing we wrote. It's the second thing we wrote. Out of all the things to write when starting a country, the second thing they wrote down is you better get a gun.
Being surprised by this is like being surprised that the 13th Amendment is central to many African Americans. You're the party of tyrannical governance, and the Second Amendment was literally written to give the people the power to resist tyranny. But leave it to the political insider trading queen to state the obvious truth like it's some grand revelation. She then goes on to say that, especially in rural areas where gun culture is both a lifestyle and a matter of personal freedom. Nah, don't try to give rural areas the credit. The recent spike in gun ownership is due to people living in urban and suburban areas, not in places where you can pigeonhole 2A rights into hunting. In 2023, the American Rifleman concluded that the U.S. Census Bureau estimates that 77.9% of all U.S. citizens are adults. Using that figure, it comes to 763,420 more firearm owners in urban regions in the nation and another 2,726,500 in the burbs. New rural gun ownership pales by comparison after calculation at 358,340. Regardless, it adds up to a gain of nearly 3.5 million new gun owners who live in cities and suburbs. That kind of shift in less than a decade makes it obvious we have seen a major shift in manufacturing marketing approach and a record-setting pace of gun range expansion. So no, it's not the rural areas that are spiking with gun owners. It's the urban areas and the suburban areas. You want it to be the rural areas so you can make it seem like it's those people that are buying all the guns so you can dismiss them. But it's really your constituency that's buying guns and is why y'all lost, because the only thing y'all love more than the smell of your own flatulence is more gun control. And the people in the cities aren't having it anymore. Pelosi continues by saying the Democrat Party's push for gun control and common sense regulation has been met with opposition by the Republican narrative that casts these efforts as infringements on personal liberty. Common sense gun regulations are only common sense to people who have none. There is no Republican narrative. There's only the Second Amendment. When you're trying to ban and confiscate the most popular rifle in the country, that's not a narrative. It's literally an infringement of an amendment that said shall not be infringed. But keep gaslighting. It's all you do anyway. Then Pelosi says, for many voters, the right to bear arms is not only a constitutional issue, but also a symbol of resistance to perceived government overreach. Perceived government overreach? Now I see why her husband was playing duck, duck, goose with the hammer guy. This woman could gaslight the devil. What are you talking about? All y'all do is overreach. It's not perceived, it's documented. In 1994, you banned the most popular civilian rifle in the country. The only people saying shit like this are Democrats. Republicans and other people aren't pushing these type of gun control laws. Y'all are. The government overreach isn't perceived. It's dripping from your tyrannical lips for the world to see. And then Pelosi said she recognized that the Democrats' stance on gun control likely alienated some voters who prioritize this issue. She maintained that the party's commitment to reducing gun violence is strong. I swear, Nancy Pelosi is the geriatric version of Delulu is the Salulu. In one breath, you recognize that your party's stance on gun control is what alienated some voters who prioritize this issue, but still maintain your commitment to the very thing you said alienated the voters. You just thought you could call it reducing gun violence, and then that would somehow be different. It's the same shit. It's gun control. Nanci didn't learn anything. She just stated the obvious and then doubled down on it, which is goofy behavior if you ask me. But then again, it's Nanci Pelosi. I always said the Democrat Party would never lose an election if they dropped the whole gun control nonsense, but they couldn't even if they wanted to. There's just too much anti-gun billionaire money filling the coffers of Democrat politicians. But I'm sure they don't want to talk about that though. But what I do want to talk about is protecting your hearing with my favorite in-ear Bluetooth wireless hearing protection, the AKT1 Blackouts. I love these things because they allow me to protect my hearing while I'm shooting, while also allowing me to listen to music and take phone calls while I'm shooting. They have a 25 dB NRR rating, and also they have active noise blocking, so it'll clip any decibel levels that is unsafe for your hearing, but still give you the hearing awareness to hear what's going on around you and have conversations as well. So hit the link in the description section of this video and grab a pair of the AKT1 Blackouts. One thing's for certain and two things are for sure. Politicians and tech giants don't want gun content to be recommended to you. And we're all fighting this culture war together. Now you can help do your part by liking, commenting, subscribing to the channel, but most importantly, sharing this video with at least one person. Together we can stop the suppression of our 2A rights. And don't forget to click the link in the description section of this video for the products that I mentioned in this video.